of Social Media News Live. I am so excited to do this show for you guys today. It's some of my favorite, I always say this, but these really are some of my favorite people in the world. They're so much fun. I enjoy talking with them. They're amazing. But Ian had to come instead. No, I'm just teasing. Ian too. I love Ian. He's my friend. We meet every week. So we're going to have a great show for you guys today. But would you do us a favor? If you have found value in this show, will you tell somebody else about it? Like, we're talking about community today, and this is a big buzzword. Everybody's talking about it, but it's kind of hard to do if you've ever started from scratch. So if they're interested in how to build a community or to join a community or any of those type of things, call them into the conversation. Let them know about this show because it is going to be fabulous. I'm so excited to talk with Katie and have Ian here as my special co-host because he does a great job with community as well. So we are going to have a lot of fun today. And we've got, speaking of community, one of my favorite people too is Gary Stockton saying, "Good morning, you beautiful faces from Huntington Beach." Gary, thank you so much. Ask your question. I mean, Gary, you do a lot of stuff in the corporate world. I'd love to know your insights as we're going along today, talking about like how, you know, the corporate side, just trying to build community and what your struggles are, what you found that works, because I know Gary is super smart about all that. So, Gary, I appreciate you popping in today. Ian Anderson Gray, how are things in lovely Manchester?
Things are doing good. The weather is nice. The sun is out. I went for a lovely Good Friday walk this morning, which was lovely with my son. So all is good in the world. I'm happy.
Are the kids off for like Good Friday? They get off it in the UK?
Yeah. So bank holiday, Good Friday, bank holiday on Easter Monday as well.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
but it is the Easter break. So the kids are off for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh wow, 2 weeks. We only get like we get like Friday and Monday, and that's because my wife teaches. So I'm like, that's 2 weeks. Wow, you guys know how to do it.
That's like not a holiday here in Massachusetts. We have an April break coming up, but it's not. The kids are still they're in school. Easter what?
Yeah. So Martin says, "Good morning from Toronto." Hey Martin, thank you for stopping in today. I really appreciate you stopping in almost every week over on LinkedIn. I appreciate you. And Gary says, "Ian, did you have hot cross buns today?"
I love hot cross buns.
Do you know what? We didn't, but I don't know what happened. We've had a malfunction in the Gray household.
That's right. So right. All right. So I'm so excited for you guys to be here. We're going to be talking, like I said, about community, how to build a strong one, because I mean, yes, Ecamm is a sponsor of the show, but even before then, I have been in love with this company because of the way they do community, and Katie is one of the main reasons for that. And so we're going to dive into that today. So make sure to ask your questions. I'm going to hit go on the podcast machine. Are you guys all ready?
We're ready.
Good. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Hello, folks. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
Still my favorite.
And I'm Ian Anderson Gray. I'm Ian Anderson Gray.
And I'm Katie. I'm here to ruin everything today. Completely ruin everything.
Nothing.
That's my goal.
So, Ian, I thought there's maybe a delay into the UK, but go ahead and say your line. That's fine.
I'm Ian Anderson Gray, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the world of social media and more.
And I'm so excited you guys are with us today because we have got the amazing Katie Fawkes, Director of Marketing at Ecamm, joining us for a lively chat, as my friend Ian probably would say. What? We'll be picking her brain on how she crafts a cozy and safe space for her community. She taps into their beliefs and joins forces with influencers while keeping everything running smoothly. So buckle up and get ready for some fantastic insights from Katie's journey in building and empowering the Ecamm community. Katie, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. It's Friday. The weather is finally getting nicer here in New England. There's no complaints at all.
Yeah, and so if you haven't met Katie before, let me introduce you because she is the Director of Marketing at Ecamm, where she gets to work alongside some of the most amazing live streamers, podcasters, and content creators out there, helping them reach their goals and grow their business through video and live streaming. In addition to heading up Ecamm's marketing team, Katie is also the co-host of the video podcast, The Flow. So what you want to do right after you watch the show, you want to go over there, you want to subscribe, you want to rate and review, because that really helps podcasters out. So do me a favor and go do that after the show. But she's been working in the world of marketing for her entire career, and the coolest thing about her is that she keeps backyard chickens. So that is very, very interesting, Katie. I have about 3 acres, and I really want chickens.
You should get chickens. They're so fun.
But my wife, there's some horrible chicken incident that happened in her childhood.
Oh.
I don't know what happened, but she won't let me get them. I really I want eggs because they're like $1 gazillion right now. So.
What about ducks? Maybe you could talk her into ducks.
Maybe
instead.
ducks, yeah. So how many
good.
chickens do you have?
I'm sad to say, and everyone's gonna cry with me, I don't have any at the moment. We just moved. We moved literally a mile down the street, and we had this like completely dramatic turn of events where it was this huge process to move the world's most like solidly made wooden coop that my husband engineered, got it all in, set up, and then a raccoon massacred all of my chickens.
I was wondering if it was a fox or a raccoon.
So,
yeah.
No, a raccoon. So I have more on order, but I'm being good, and I don't get them until July, so I have enough time to kind of take stock of everything and
there's a whole
clean
industry
everything up. And
there's a whole industry in like chicken influencers. I mean, like, do you have certain brands of? I'm sorry, I'm diving into this, but do you have certain brands of chickens that you get? Because I always like chicken was like chicken, but there's like something
I'm crazy.
soft tail hens and.
Yeah. I'm 100% crazy. And I was so sad. I was like completely distraught. I lost my flock like right around Christmas time, which is my favorite time of year. And so I did what like no person should do. And I went on to, there's like a local chicken hatchery, I guess, nearby. And you can order like custom breeds of chickens, which is why mine don't arrive until July. I was like every single weird and wonderful kind of chicken, I'm all in. So my egg collection will be incredibly colorful. So we have some that lay blue eggs, some that lay green eggs. My favorite are silkies, which are these tiny, fluffy, ridiculous chickens that like shouldn't even be allowed outside. Like they're just walking around waiting
pets.
For someone to take them out.
Right.
But they're so sweet and they love they're like about this big. Look them up if you don't know what I'm talking about. They're the fluffiest, most ridiculous thing. So those are my favorite, and I got a few of those. But yeah, my goal was like colorful, Instagram ready egg gardens for everyone.
That's amazing. So speaking of small and fluffy, Ian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm really interested in this conversation as well, because my parents have hens or chickens or whatever you want to call it. What's the difference between a chicken and a hen? I don't know, but anyway.
The hen is the female chicken, right? The hen is,
right.
And then
is that what it is?
Yeah,
I don't know about these things.
We'll draw you a picture.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I think it could be a community around chickens.
It could be. There is, I'm sure.
Yeah. There is. There's books and stuff. It's like, anyway. So sorry about the chicken talk, folks. But our friend Chris Stone says hot crust buns for sale on Amazon. He's always thinking ahead. The Dealcasters are.
Dealcasters will help you get those buns.
And so the Honest Accomplice says, "Hey, Katie, just had to move over from Anna and Fujin. So thank you guys for popping over after that." Johnny E is saying, "What's up, fam?" We've got David Hunt coming in. All these, Paul Duncan, the amazing Paul Duncan is saying, "Hey, fam." So very cool. We got tons of people stopping in. Anna and Fujins, thank you guys for popping in today. Yeah, and so, Gary, we're going to be talking about this. Ecamm has a great community. He is, and that's why I wanted Katie there. And my friend Elisa Meredith is watching over on YouTube. So we got all sorts of people in. And we will pass the chicken talk, and we're going to start the show. We're going to start right off after introducing Katie. We want to do something really quick because this is really important. I want to tell you guys about something that's coming up, and I want to come right back to Katie. But you need to sign up now. Get it while it's hot. It's Leap into Live Selling coming up in April 24th through 25th. You can find out more about that at leapintolive.com. So go check that out because I'm speaking, Ian's speaking, Katie's going to be there. So, Katie, tell us about this Leap into Live Selling, because this is so cool this year.
Yeah, so this is our annual virtual summit. So we've done, I think we started in 2020. So this is year 4 for us. And this year we're taking the leap into live selling, live shopping, shoppable videos, all kinds of monetization. So it's a huge topic for many of you out there trying to figure out, okay, I'm in this video space, I'm in this live streaming space. How do I make money at it? What are the opportunities that are out there? what's an Amazon Live? We're happy to help you answer all of these questions. And we have some amazing experts, including Jeff, that are going to be able to help you get up and running in the world of live shopping and beyond. It's completely free. It's a fun community-driven event. So even if you're like, I don't really know if live shopping is for me, come and hang out and learn a little bit more about it and get to know the rest of the community. We'd love to have you. Yeah, leapintolive.com will get you your free pass.
Very, very cool. And some of our friends who show up almost every week, I think every week, we'd have to go back and check his attendance record. But Chris Stone and Jim Fuse from the Dealcasters are going to be a big part of that. So make sure you guys check that out. I'm going to play a little commercial at the end of the show, so stick around for that. You'll see all about it. Doc Rock put together something really, really cool. So we will be talking about that. So it's all about community today, folks, if you haven't figured that out. But we're going to be starting it off about building a strong community. What I want to talk about, first of all, one of the things that is important for a community, and I feel like that Ecamm does it a really stellar job at this, and I talk about them every week, but just the community aspect's amazing. But Katie, you've kind of helped build what I would say is a safe space, because I think communities only work if people feel like they can go in there and talk, they can hang out. There are rules in place, but it's a place where they feel like they really can join in a conversation. So how do you create this safe space? Did you guys really plan it out when you started? Did it happen organically? Tell us your thoughts on how Ecamm runs its community in that way.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I completely agree. I think we're in kind of a special environment as well at Ecamm, because what we are all doing is really highly visual, and there's a huge kind of element of fear and uncertainty that comes into thinking through how you are going to be on video or live streaming. And so from the very start, we really wanted our community space to be a place where people could practice live video and do it in a way where, even if they were terrified to be on camera, which absolutely right here was when I started, right? You could still press that button, and there would be people that would come on that wouldn't tell you were doing everything wrong, and wouldn't make fun of you, and would be kind of safe, encouraging folks to jump on a stream. So in some ways it happened organically and kind of grew, and we have some really amazing people in our space who were there right from the very beginning. But in other ways, it was just really came out of this concept of we need a place for our customers and those who are getting into live streaming to be able to practice and test, and the best place was in a Facebook group where it wasn't super public, but it was public enough that you could get a feeling for it.
That's great. That's great. And it really is that place. But I like how you said it was organic. So Ian, I know you had a question that you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I mean, the Ecamm community is amazing. The people in there are so friendly. It's a really encouraging place. But there's always going to be conflicts and disagreements. Doesn't matter how how amazing the community is. So how do you handle those conflicts and disagreements within the community so that it can maintain that supportive environment?
Gosh, I mean, it's a work in progress, and I would be completely lying to you if I said that it is perfect all the time. We definitely have things that crop up, or conversations that start off fine and take a turn, because people certainly have really strong feelings and experiences, and we're from all different backgrounds. We're from all different parts of the world. We have different, political and religious views. So there are things that come up along the way. I think we try really hard. We have a really amazing team of moderators and experts and admins in that group that are constantly watching, and keeping an eye on things. And we communicate probably on an hourly basis using Slack as a team, saying like, hey, we're seeing this come up, or this person is asking a specific question. I'm kind of concerned that it might go into something where we don't want it to be as public, or we want to be able to diffuse the situation before it gets out of control. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it is communication and having a really good team, and having a team that are on all different time zones. So like, even when I'm asleep, or it's evening, or doing
Right.
we have people who are keeping an eye out for things, and know the tone, and know the expectation, and what we as a business and as an organization expect from the group. When things get really out of hand or go crazy, I mean, we we try our best not to censor anything, but we do have a set list of rules. So, if there is a post or a person that's in violation of those, we will remove a post that is in violation of that. But we always try to reach out to that person and just let them know why and what the rationale and the reasoning was behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Or doing things like just turning off comments if it's like, okay, we've discussed this enough and we should move on to something else. So we'll turn off the comments on a post. But we don't have to do that super often because by and large, most of what people are talking about in our group is, video production and the gear that they love and the things that they're really proud of and are practicing and working things through. So it doesn't come up super often, but when it does, we just try our best to keep an eye on it.
So,
Cool.
one of the questions I want to bring this up because we got distracted by the chicken incident, but I want to ask the whole chicken conversation. So, Tati, I don't know how to say your name, but she's
Tatiana.
Tatiana. She remembers Ian from Leap into Podcasting. So Ian is hard to forget. I've tried, but no, I'm just kidding. But she asked a question, and I wanted to ask at the start of the show, like, who interviewed for the Ecamm job? What questions were most memorable? Because I wanted to go in a little bit about your background. Like, how did you get started? What did you do before Ecamm? Because I think that kind of helps, like, figure out, like, some of the community, the way you kind of driven some community stuff. So talk about, like, Katie before Ecamm. What did you do?
Oh my gosh. So you may laugh, Tatiana. No one interviewed me for this job. I mean, like anything else, it's all about who you know and who you are and what you love to do. I actually became friends with Ken and his family back when we originally moved here to Amesbury, Massachusetts. Through my husband, who is significantly more quiet and probably many would think more introverted than I am, but it's a trick. He's probably more extroverted. He not volunteered. He heard about a adult software programming class, like an adult coding class that was happening at a new organization here in Amesbury called Code and Circuit. And he was like, oh, I know nothing about software. I want to learn. It'll be a great way to meet people in the community. So he showed up. Ken was the one teaching it. And the two of them became really good friends. And now Dane works here and there, volunteering and teaching at Code and Circuit for all the kids' classes. They've never done another adult class since. So it was kind of the one and only moment. So we just got to know Ken's family and as we got to know them a bit better, we learned a little bit more about what he and Glenn were doing with Ecamm. And they had never done any kind of marketing. They had built this business on the concept of if a software is good enough, then you don't need any kind of, glitzy marketing. You don't need, it literally was written into their About Us. It was like, we don't believe in marketing. We stand by the tool that we have. We're here to help. But they had gone out to social media marketing world a few years in a row, had done this like amazing booth, really. I mean, two people who really are not marketing people, who have no background or belief in marketing, had gone there and really, gone out of their way to meet people and to understand their customers better and to sell the product. And so they started thinking, oh, maybe we should look into what marketing, is possible and what we could do. Right. And so at one point, I believe, and I hope I'm remembering this correctly, but at one point, Ken was like, hey, you do marketing professionally. Like, could you talk to Glenn and I and help us figure out what we might want to do. And so I started by just chatting with him about what was possible. And then I ended up joining first as a contractor. And then I was just at a point in my career where I was really miserable in my job. And I remember distinctly sending a text over to Ken and being like, hey, if I leave this job, could I just come and hang out with you guys full time? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And so it was just this very organic shift from a job that I just really wasn't happy with into a job that I absolutely love. But it came from just a really great friendship into an opportunity to help. And they had already done a lot to get things started, particularly on the community side. I mean, Ken and Glenn actually started the Facebook group that is now the Ecamm community. And there were, I think, I want to say somewhere between like 500 and 1,000 people. Maybe there was 500-ish people. There were people that were in the Ecamm community and in the beta group before I started and joined the team. And there were, the Ians and the Stephanies and the Jeffs of the world already knew the software and loved it and were like asking to be involved. So there was a foundation there. But yeah, I come from a marketing background. I started as a product copywriter. I wanted to be a novelist. So I'm from a writing background and a blogging and copywriting background. And I've worked at a number of different companies and agencies doing marketing, first copywriting, then general marketing, and then social media marketing, and then local marketing. So I have kind of a wide background in the world of marketing.
That's awesome. So, but the cool thing is like the cool origin story. We love that it started organically as a friendship. Yeah. So that is what's cool about this thing, because I think it goes to the philosophy and the culture behind Ecamm, and that's what I think so many people love about that. So, one question, and I'm probably going to jump ahead. And sorry, Ian, you're just gonna have to butt in. Like when I do this stuff, because I get these ideas, and people who watch the show know that I can go off these rabbit trails. But so you mentioned, Facebook, and then you also have a Discord channel, which is really interesting. So I want you to talk about why you created another place for community, and why, and is it a different feel between the two? What do you use one for, and the other? Because I think that's fascinating too, because that's the first thing people like when they're trying to build a community, like, well, what platform do I use? Like, I don't know where to start. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And again, like anything else, I don't have any like super solid answers. The answer is that we had started on Facebook, and we have a Facebook group. The reason behind Facebook was at the time it was, super accessible. It's where everyone was spending their time, and you can live stream really easily there. So again, it goes back to the idea of it was a space where it was really easy for customers and potential customers to test out our product, to practice and play, and for us to be able to answer questions. But Facebook, it should come as no surprise to anyone listening or watching, is not the easiest tool to use these days, right? It's constantly updating. There's always some kind of change. There's always some sort of issue. There's a lot of spam and trolls and weird things that happen all the time. It's also really difficult, particularly for a group our size. We're sitting at just over 20,000 active members. It's really difficult to find and curate content. So, we have a lot of resources in there, but a lot of it's outdated. It's hard to find. There's all these different sections. No one knows where they are. So we didn't want to close down our Facebook group, because lots of people like to be on Facebook, and it's a space where they can see what's going on when they're looking at other things on Facebook. They can still stream there. There's a lot of benefits to being on the Facebook platform, but we have a lot of members who don't have Facebook accounts anymore and still want to be able to engage in our community, or just really want to be able to speak in like niche subgroups. So they're like, oh, I'm a video podcaster. I don't actually want to talk about live streaming, or I don't want to talk about these other different aspects of Ecamm. So Discord allows us the opportunity to have multiple, and I'm probably going to butcher the name. I'm new to Discord, butcher the name of it, but subgroups. I think they're channels. Anyway, channels on Discord where, we can have an Ecamm en Español channel for our Spanish speaking customers. We can have, a podcasting channel for those who only want to talk about podcasting. We can have a section that's, devoted to where all of our tutorial videos are found. We can have a channel that is like, hey, here's what's upcoming in our events and live streams. So I think Discord, in addition to being, a non-Facebook space, is also a space where we can just curate and organize content and community a lot more effectively. So it's not different per se than the Facebook group in the people and the spirit of the community and in what's offered there, but I think it's an easier space to actually get around and find what you're looking for. So, but like anything else, it's an uphill battle to change minds and hearts and move people over. And it's, a new tool for people to learn. So it's certainly a smaller space, but I think there's a lot of potential there, and we're going to continue to grow it. But we're going to keep our Facebook group as well, because I know that it's a space that many people really value, for all the reasons that, that we initially got started there.
So it's interesting. So I based, because I saw what you're doing over in Discord, I started my own paid Discord channel
Yay!
because the ability, and it's also off Facebook, and you kind of own it, and
Yeah,
it's a
you
lot
own it.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've been kind of using you as a model, and we do have some good comments here. Hank Russell says, "Us seasoned folks love Facebook." Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean,
Some of us, yeah, some of us are well seasoned, Hank, and here, but and Jim, my friend Jim says curate content equals repurposing, so that makes complicated Facebook can be a real challenge. So very, very true. Ian, I know you had some questions, so I'll quit talking and let you go.
Yeah, stop talking. So, like, one of the things, and I don't know about Jeff, but one of the things I've struggled with when it comes to community is you have the initial kind of excitement and conversations that go on, but how do you keep that going? How do you encourage this open communication and active participation amongst community members? And has that always been the case in the Ecamm community? And how do you continue that? How does that carry on?
Yeah, that's a great question. It comes in, I feel like it comes in waves. I think the more time that you as a admin or moderator spend time in your space, you start seeing the people who are engaging, right? The people who are asking questions or who are sharing ideas or, or even just liking posts. So I've always done, I think, a pretty good job of keeping an eye out on the community, even if I'm not actively posting in there myself. I'm constantly checking our stats on who are kind of the top contributors, who are the people that are spending time there, and what are they talking about. And that has been a really great place for me to be able to pull those people out. So Marshall, for example, who now does a regular show on our YouTube channel for us, he had posted this amazing video talking all about LUTs, which was a really, at the time, is still, I mean, really is a pretty niche feature within Ecamm, right? Something that not everyone uses, but he had done a really good job of explaining it. His video looked really cool. And he was just doing it like, I think just answering someone's question. He was like, hey, I use LUTs. Here's how I use LUTs. And I was like, oh, this would be a great video, to showcase and feature in some way. So I reached out to him and asked like, hey, how are you using LUTs? Can we feature your video? And we were able to build a relationship outside of the Ecamm community. He and I were chatting back and forth. He had some really great ideas of how I could do some things differently. He had some videos he wanted to work through. And, and it ended up in this relationship where now he does a ton of our videos for us. He does tutorial videos. He's on our channel. But it really just came from, I was keeping an eye on the community. What he was sharing was kind of different. It was helping people. And so we doubled down on that content. So I think that keeping an eye on things and doubling down and reaching out to those people who want to contribute and finding out what else they might want to contribute or what projects they're working on has been really effective for us to be able to find new voices and, influencers and experts in our software. The more you make people feel included and special, the more they're going to want to contribute. So there's that side of it. And then I would say the other side that we've done pretty effectively is this idea of constant, and maybe some might say I do this too much, so, but constant, activities and things going on in the group. So we always have, challenges, or there's themed weeks, or we're doing all kinds of different things together. And so that may not be everyone, but it gives people something to contribute. So maybe you're sitting in the group and you're like, oh, like this is a fun space. I don't really know what to say. I don't have any questions, but I'd love to get to know people better. The idea of like doing something together every day, or doing something together every week, or participating in like a workshop together or something like that gives people something to talk about and to get to know each other better. So we do try to do a lot of those. We do a lot of prizes and giveaways and things that encourage people to participate. But yeah, I would say those two sides is kind of keeping an eye on who those people are that want to be part of something bigger, want to be your experts, your moderators, your influencers, and then what are fun things that you could do to kind of keep people, give them a reason to engage and give them a reason to be involved.
Yeah, that's all great. Yeah, great advice. So I want to before we move off of the kind of the safe space and making a safe community, David here says over on YouTube, he says moderators are key, which is so very true.
Oh, huge,
and you have there's some really great ones in Ecamm, and you recognize them by name. But what would you tell somebody who's setting up maybe a Discord channel for the first time, or having a Facebook group they just kind of started because they really want to have a community as well? What do you tell people, like, some guidelines or codes of conduct you can implement to kind of have a safe and welcoming atmosphere? Because you can set up bots on Discord to kind of moderate some things, automatically. Facebook, I think you put keywords in and stuff like that. But like if somebody's starting from scratch, what would you tell them to first do so you have that really safe space?
Yeah, you have to spend the time. You can't automate it when you're first starting out. You and I would almost say you probably shouldn't automate it at all, even though that
Right.
sucks to say. You just need to spend a ton of time. So if you're the one starting it, I would almost challenge not to start with moderators. Start by yourself, or
Mhm.
I guess if you have a co-host or a team member or someone else who's there to help you out, but spend the time and set an example. Post content in there that's the kind of content and the kinds of responses that you would expect to see from your community, and and let people know, praise them when they're responding that way, and let them know if they're responding in a way that isn't what you want to see, as kindly as you're able to do. But you need to spend the time in there, and as you're spending more time and you're seeing more of your community members starting to interact, those are the people that you want to
Right.
highlight and make your moderators and build out your team, because they are the people that are going to know the space the best, and there's a reason why they're interacting and spending as much time there. So all of our moderators are Ecamm users who started in the Ecamm community and wanted to help. They wanted to give back. They either asked to be moderators, or we just saw them contributing and helping and answering questions and asked if they wanted to participate. So yeah, I would say spend the time and then really pay close attention to who's in there and what they're saying. But it's you that sets the tone and your team that sets the tone. And you just need to spend time doing it.
That's great advice. May not be what we want to hear, more time, but
sorry,
in community,
sorry.
I mean, the thing is relationships aren't built like you just don't go to a party and make a relationship. It's spending time with people, sitting down.
It's not magic.
Yeah, it's you have to put in the time to build relationships, and that's what community is. So, one of the things that you guys who may be scrolling through the social feeds going, what in the world is this? What are they talking about? What is this Ecamm thing that they say? Well, you can find out more about it if you go to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. I really appreciate Ecamm. They have been the sponsor of the show from the get-go, and I'm a big fan of them from the beginning. So, but if you want to find out more about it, socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. Join their community. Just do a search for them on Facebook or whatever, and it's Ecamm, ECAMM. If you're listening to it on a podcast, so go check that out. And so appreciate Katie and all the gang for helping with this show. But let's talk about this. We're talking about building a community, and one of the things you do it is you kind of have to build it. You can't force a community. You have to kind of gather around them and what their belief system, in quotes, is. So how did you guys identify the core belief system? You mentioned it was a place at first for people to practice, going live with. But then you saw these people who were helping each other. I think Doc Rock even started just in there helping people. So talk about how that kind of influenced your marketing strategy, seeing there's a core belief system that people are, okay, they're supporting each other. This is what this community is going to be about. We're going to put some more energy and focus behind that.
Yeah, I mean, we were seeing a lot of questions coming into the community space, right? So as people were practicing and we were pointing more people back towards our community. So in all of our onboarding emails and communications, when people first sign up for a trial or sign up for Ecamm, we're like, hey, we have this community space. You're more than welcome to come practice and spend time there. We were pushing more people into this space. And what we were seeing was more and more people asking all kinds of questions that were not necessarily traditional support questions about the software. So they weren't asking things necessarily like, how do I fix this problem that I'm seeing with Ecamm? It was more, what camera do I buy? How do I build out a studio? How do I get, my graphics to look the way that I see in this other video? Does this look good? How do I bring on an interview guest? All these kinds of things that are just, questions that you ask when you're getting started with something new. A lot of it comes from the fact that video production and live streaming was something that was really, really gated. Years back, it was something that happened in television studios and you had to go to school for it. And it was millions of dollars in equipment. And now anyone can do it. And so you have people that are jumping on who have never been on camera before. They've never set up a studio. They have no idea what microphones to get, what's a mixer, what are all. So there's a learning curve for the software, but there's also a learning curve just for video in general.
Right.
So I guess the more questions that we were seeing in that space, the more we were like, oh, well, we can highlight different experts that we know that have, a ton of resources on these specific subjects. I mean, we're a software, so we can answer everything about Ecamm itself, but we're not YouTubers or content creators ourselves, so we don't know necessarily what the best cameras or the best microphones are, or how to set up different studios. We're not a church live streamer, so we don't know what it's like to be in like a church setting, and we can't do everything. So what we can really do is find the people within our space who are doing this really effectively, who are helping others and answering those questions and showing what they're good at. We can highlight those people and and kind of continue those conversations down the road. So I mean, we started seeing again, people within the community who were amazing at graphics, and people in the community who were amazing at cameras, and those who were awesome at audio, and had all these levels of special skills that we were able to point people towards. And then it gets easier the longer you're at it. Now it's like, someone asks a question about microphones, and I'm like, oh, I can tag Laura Davidson from Shure in this, and
Right,
I know
right.
she'll answer really quickly. Whereas, someone asks, about getting started in podcasting, I can tag either or both of you in this, right? So like it kind of grows over time. But it started with just, there was a bunch of questions that started coming out, and the more questions that were highlighted, the more people realized, oh, I'm good at that, or I have a pretty cool studio space, I'm happy to share that. And it just started this really great conversation, which then started this belief system, as you said, of like helping other people, and working together as kind of this helpful, friendly community space. And I can give all of the credit to Marshall, who coined the term in one of the videos he did, where he's like, hey, we're the Ecamm fam, what's up fam? Like those are
Right.
entirely Marshall sayings that we just embraced. But I think it was really representative of what we were becoming, and certainly who we are now, where it does feel like this space where you can go and get advice of all different kinds from all different kinds of backgrounds. So, there's never one right answer. There's many, many different ways that all of us can do this. And there's many different voices within our space of ways that people are being successful at this. So I think it's just been a really great space for that. But yeah, that all came out just from lots of questions, and then doubling down and helping people get the answers, which then turned into a friendly, helpful space.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. So like there's definitely this shared belief system. There's this unity, this family feel in the Ecamm community. But can you maybe kind of help us to understand what are the methods that you've used to discover the shared values and the common interests within the community? Because I think this is really helpful for those people watching and listening who want to set up their own community. How can maybe they what methods can they use to discover those shared values maybe for their community?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Again, I think it comes down to problem solution. So it's the same kind of basic formula in marketing in general, right? So like what are the problems or challenges that your audience is facing, and what are the solutions that you have as a podcaster, video person, community owner, that you can help solve some of those challenges. And the more that you can start solving and answering questions and helping people, the more that you can lead by example and show people in your community how they can also help, and how you can facilitate other people helping, and your community will build itself really in that way. But I really do think that it all comes down to people spend time together in a community space based on shared interests, but they're typically also looking for information in some way, right? So like I could be a dog lover, a chicken lover. Let's go back to chickens. I'm a chicken lover, right?
Yeah.
So like I buy chickens, and I love chickens. I have no need to join a community unless I want to, learn more about how I can build my coop, what kinds of breeds of chickens I want to get. Like I have all of these questions in mind because I now love chickens. And I probably also want to be able to see what other people's chickens look like, how they're doing it. So even though it's an interest and it's a hobby that I'm doing, there are innately challenges and issues and questions that I'm going to have as I get more involved in this interest. So I guess I would challenge any community builder out there to think past just what the interest is, right? So for us, it's video. The interest is video, but think past it into, okay, if someone is getting into video or has been in video for a while, what kinds of questions and challenges and things are they going to have? And how can I provide that information here within this space to be able to help them? So what are the resources in my chicken keeping group, of which I'm completely a member of, the Massachusetts chicken keeping group, right? Like they have resources within that group. Like, where can you buy chickens? Here's a list of all of the members that sell chickens. Like, what kind of medication do chickens need? Here is what, we approve here within the state of Massachusetts. I'm sure that group started in some way because they were like, oh, hey, we own chickens and we'd love to meet other people that own chickens. But it's pretty quickly turned into a space where it's not only friendly for people who just want to hang out and talk about that topic, but also to find all the information that they need and to point people who are new into this space so that they can find all the information they need.
That's cool. So one of the things I think, and that's why I think Ecamm is so successful in their community, is so many brands think of, we're going to build a community and we're going to make sales. And
stop selling people.
And
Please stop selling people.
And it doesn't work because community, if you go and make helpful comments, you're teaching people how to use your product, but do it in a way that's not icky, then it's organically those sales happen because they realize like, oh my gosh, they're not just going to throw me a product and go away. They're going to be there to support. And I brag about you guys all the time about this is like, I've wanted isolated tracks for ages because there's this other software that did it. And I had to use that for a while for a client. But the boys had me come on and like show them what I needed and what I worked. And it's not just me. I know Ian's had conversations with, but you guys really dive into the community and really want to make it something that's a service for the end user. So once again, really, really cool. I do want to bring up some comments because we have some amazing people here. We've actually, Paul Duncan goes, if you have moderators that you need to make sure they understand what you want and how you want your community to function.
Absolutely.
And the cool thing is like all these people were like, Paul is the best. And
Paul
Duncan
should
Fawkes
be the one
is the
on here
best.
talking about our community because Paul is the
should.
glue that holds it together. Yeah.
So, but that just talks about like in the importance of your moderators and a community that helps and serves each other, I think. Now, I want to get into some brass tacks from Tatiana says she has a question for both Ian and Katie. I'm just dog meat, so don't ask me any questions. But she goes, I am starting out with my platform and range from 0 to 5 people during my lives. What are your top 2 tips for advanced beginners like me who don't have an established audience? Because I think live video is community. That's what makes it great. Otherwise, do a YouTube video. Like having these people that I can talk to is what makes it so much fun. So talk to Tatiana about like, okay, I don't feel like I'm getting a lot. What do I need to do to get an established audience? Katie, I'll let you go first.
Oh, yes. No, just kidding. It's a really great question. It's something that we all face. I think I would ignore those numbers. I know that is like such a cliched answer to give back to you, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Just keep doing it. Keep your energy up, even if there are 0 live viewers, because people are going to discover it later on replay. You're going to get those replay viewers that are going to come up, especially if you've optimized your video correctly and you're pulling into all the different, search engines and you're coming up more. People will find that video and, and continue to talk about it and share about it. What worked best for me was getting over myself in this. I had always kind of set up these very separate tracks. I was like, okay, work Katie is over here on LinkedIn and in the community and only in these spaces. And like personal Katie and my personal life is like
Chicken
locked down
Katie.
and only, Chicken Katie only lives in these spaces. And I was like, oh, my like parents and my brother and like my close friends, they're not going to care at all about what I'm posting for Ecamm and what I'm talking about and the things that I'm doing in my work life. Like that's not for them. That's irrelevant. They really do. Now I post what I'm doing on all the different places and platforms, and whether it's personal or professional or for what I do in my volunteer side of my life. And I get questions all the time from, from people who are like, childhood friends who are like, oh, I've been meaning to get into podcasting for a while and I wanted to pick your brain a little bit more on how you're doing it. Or, I have live viewers on my personal podcast who are Ecamm people that show up all the time, which is still mind blowing to me because it's like a silly, fun thing that I do for kicks with my best friend. So I would say, don't be afraid to let people know about it, and don't be afraid to be fine with the fact that there's only a couple people showing up here and there. Like it will come. Continue to make good content, continue to focus on the audience and solve problems as best as you can, and everything else will come.
Yeah. And love the people who show up, like, and
Love the
and
people
like,
who show up.
and go talk to them on other platforms. Like I've seen, like I bring up Gary because he's here every week. But I go on Instagram and Gary's like this, he's this corporate guy who does really cool stuff, but he's also a musician, and he posts some stuff every once in a while where he's like got in his little studio, and I think that is so stinking cool. So really, if you're going to build a community, once again, it goes back to relationships, and you can't fake that stuff. You got to go and engage with the people in their real life just as they are here. So that's what's great about Ecamm's community. Okay, Ian, sorry. I get excited about this stuff. So
No,
I'm going to let you're very reserved British, I know, and you're not going to butt in, but feel free to. I'm a East Texas hick, so you got to plow through what I'm saying.
Well, actually, I'm trying to. You're not letting me get in here. I am too polite. I don't really have much else to add. I totally agree with Katie about, like, don't look at the number. I mean, it's really annoying because, like, you can see it on the top left of your screen. So, like, in one sense, don't look at it, because remember that your community is not just your live community, it's your replay community. If you're repurposing it into other places, it might be your podcast community, and it takes time. One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot recently is just make sure that you are not only being yourself, like as Katie said, don't compartmentalize yourself, just share what's happening in your life, but also as well as giving back to the community, it's a case of just making sure that you are following where your fascination, your curiosity is going. So don't just share the same stuff of what everyone else is sharing or what you think you should be sharing. Talk about what is really fascinating for you at this time, and people will follow you. They will be able to see the passion in what you're talking about. So Katie, I had a question. I hope this is okay, Jeff.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's about smaller businesses and creators. And I'm thinking about people, maybe solopreneurs, creators like me and Jeff. How can businesses like ours build a community around our own unique belief system? Because Ecamm is still, I would say, it's not like a massive company, but you do have more resources than maybe a smaller business have. So what would you suggest? How can we build communities around our belief system?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I mean, I would say it probably just comes down to time management. I think the biggest challenge, honestly, I think the biggest challenge for solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, and I struggle even with this, is, how do you split up your time, and what are the most important things to you as a business owner? So, if community is in there and falls pretty high up on your list, then it's just a matter of spending time and helping out your audience as best as you can in that space. I also think we're pretty guilty, and I will include myself in this because I'm equally guilty at this, of splitting ourselves up into too many different places and spaces. So if you can at all, if community is really important to you, like, that's your talking point then, right? So every time you're on your live stream or your podcast, it's like, come and spend time with me in our community. Here's the link. It's not, find me on all these different places. Also leave a review. Also go back to my website. Also email me. Also, I'm on social media. Like that. If that's your focus point and that's where you want to spend time, then spend time there. Create extra resources and bonus content and reasons, whether, challenges, fun things that you can do with your people that are exclusive to that space, so that you give them a reason to want to be there and a reason to want to spend time there. But yeah, I really honestly, I think for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, it's just a priority thing. It comes down to, we're all really, really busy and we're all doing a ton of different things. So at some point you have to look at your to-do list and say, like, these are the top 3 things. And if community is in there, then cut out the rest of the noise and spend the time to build it. And it does take time. It's totally okay to have, and many smarter people than me say this often, but have 20 amazing people, have 50 amazing people, have 100 amazing people. You don't need 1 million people to be successful at a community. You don't need 100 people to be successful at a community. You need to have people that care, that you trust, that will show up, that are going to spend time. So I think we all kind of get distracted with some of those vanity metrics. Ecamm is only as big a community as it is right now because there was a pandemic and everyone panicked and they all needed to get online and they needed a video software. And we are where we are right now because we built the foundation that when something like that happened, we were there. We were there and we had all of the structure in place and we had the marketing in place and everything ready to go, that we were discoverable. So, I mean, not that I hope and wish that there will be another huge life-shattering event, but whatever that event is, be ready. If, again, if community is important to you, build the structure, be okay with the amount of people that are in there, continue to build it, get a little bit better every single day. And, and maybe overnight it will be humongous, or maybe over time it will grow to, to the number that you're dreaming of, but be okay with the people that are in there at the time and be as devoted to them as you would be to an audience of 50,000, 60,000, 1 million people.
Yeah. One thing I would say for smaller folks is the first thing is to invest in yourself, which would be like, I invested in, Agorapulse. I'm ambassador now, but I had them before, but that allows me to social listen to, like, because we're all scattered so much, being able to pull, like, if somebody comments or in your community and you're able to find that so it's not lost. I think that's important. So I would invest with that when I'm first if I was starting out again, I would do that really a lot sooner than I did. The other thing is, speaking of investing, don't forget about Leap into live selling, because that is something that you can invest in for free. It's only going to be your time. You can find out more about that at leapintolive.com. It's going to be fabulous. So many good. I learned so much when I participated as a speaker. So make sure you guys go check that out at leapintolive.com. Go register today. Not now, after the show, but today. Go do that today. So Leap into Live.
Right now, we'll see you later.
Yeah. So
no, just kidding.
So that ties into this. Actually, I always have a segue somehow. But we're talking about influencer collaboration because you partnered with influencers for Leap into Live, and but you guys do a really great job. One of building up people from within who are starting on their influencer journey, and you guys recognize that and go, okay, we want to use them. But, kind of what is your philosophy at Ecamm with partnering with influencers and kind of working behind and with them?
Oh, gosh. It's that I'm not all that smart, everyone. It's that I don't know everything. And we have this amazing community of people who are really talented and really creative in all kinds of different topics from all kinds of different backgrounds. And so it is my personal mission and our team's mission to be able to highlight all kinds of different voices in all kinds of different specialties so that existing customers and those who are coming into the Ecamm fam see what they're looking for and can resonate with, with a person that, they want to learn from, or they want to spend time with. So, yeah, I mean, I'm lucky in that I came into this job where there were already probably a bank of about 10 or 15 incredibly talented, really fairly big name in this industry influencers that Ken and Glenn had just met at Social Media Marketing World, who just love the software so much that they wanted to be involved in some way. So yeah, I mean, I guess the only advice I would have for trying to work with influencers and build up your influencer team is to really, again, keep a close eye on your community and find the people who are giving help and giving information in a way that you think makes sense for your brand and your business, and could really be like a great additive benefit to your customers. And then then yeah, don't be afraid to get to know people. And it is a relationship game. So if there are influencers out there that you would really love to work with, spend time on their streams, in their communities, you get to know them better, chat with them on LinkedIn, show up and get to know them better, and then reach out and ask. It's the same with influencers that ask questions or want to be involved with Ecamm. The people that I'm most responsive to are the people whose names and faces I recognize, right? They're people who have shown up and are on our live chats and are, in our community and helping others. It's those people who I know have a passion beyond a paycheck, that, they want to be involved and they really want to work with us. So, yeah, that's probably the best advice I have. But really, honestly, it's selfishly, it just comes from, we can't do everything. And there are these amazing people out here who are specialists in these topics. So it just makes way more sense for us. It benefits everyone, right? It makes way more sense for us to be able to provide valuable content. It helps the influencer grow their business, and so they're happy. And it helps our customers, find different voices and be able to learn in the ways that they want to learn.
That's awesome. That's an important thing to as an influencer too. Sorry, go ahead, Ian. Sorry.
That's all right. So I was going to ask a follow-up question. What advice can you give other companies looking to collaborate with influencers to grow their community?
Oh gosh, I don't want to get, no, just kidding. Yeah, no, nothing for me. No, that's a good question. I think we've been successful because for us, it really comes down to relationships more than anything else. And so again, I don't think it's easy, and I don't think it's something that is really fast either. So it's not something that you can just throw a lot of money at. I think, companies that throw a lot of money at it can do that for a little bit, but not for a long-term relationship. And so you're better off trying to foster relationships with influencers who actually want to use your product or your service and actually care about you as a company, and your messaging and your missions align, and build long-term relationships that are mutually beneficial. So for us, we want to be able to help our influencers succeed as much as we want their help to reach more customers or to help our customers, right? So that can come across in a number of different ways, but in many cases we're giving a platform for newer influencers who maybe don't have a huge following but have an amazing voice. In many cases we're giving a platform to them to be able to grow, and they're helping our audience learn something new. So, and I think a lot of other businesses don't have that kind of focus, or get really, really distracted in the transactional and lose some of the relationship side of things.
That's awesome. So this is the final question, because we're getting short on time, which I just could go another hour, but
I know, it always flies.
I know. So the question I have is I've noticed the influencers inside of the community, they're not self-selling. Because if you go into some communities, you'll notice that, there's influence in there, but there's this subtle hint like, buy my course or buy this from me. And so did you put guidelines in place for those influencers, or is it just you have a great quality and of influencers that you have in there? Is it one or the other, or do you say listen, we don't mind you being in here, but you can't post about your course every 5 posts or something like that?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Typically when we're working with an influencer, we give them the spaces and places where we can talk about their their products or services, or who they are. Typically that's if we're working with them on a workshop or a mini series or a show. Here's a good example. So we recently did a Ecamm advanced challenge. So we had one of our moderators, Alec Johnson, did this entire week-long live challenge on our YouTube, and he'd dive deep. He showed how incredible he is. He's an amazing teacher. And then, at the end of it, we sent out to everyone that participated in that event more information about the additional courses that Alec offers and about his membership, because the people that participated in it obviously signed on to do that. They have an interest in the event. He had glowing reviews across the board and how great an experience it was. And so that's a logical follow-up. You liked Alec. Here's more of Alec's stuff. If you want to dive deeper, you now know and trust him. Whereas if we had said, hey, Alec, go ahead and post all about your courses into the Ecamm community, people would be like, oh, what, this is spammy. What is this? the information is the same, and we're still sharing with, by and large, the same people, but there's a logical flow to it. You've opted to learn more about him. Here is some additional information. So we try to really make that, we try to facilitate that path so that it makes sense for our customers as well as for our influencers. And we try to make sure that our influencers understand that. So like if they're doing something in our community and they want to follow up with something that's relevant to what they just did, great. We're happy to have that. But we do remove any kind of like really kind of promotional content from within the group, from everyone. So not just our individual members, but from our moderators and from our experts, anyone that is, breaking the rules, as much as I hate saying that, like we will let them know and we will take it down, just so that we're following the same set of rules that we expect from our individual members. Because everyone, we're all, by and large, many of us are marketing professionals or business owners or entrepreneurs. So we all have something to sell that is relevant. So we want to try to keep it as kind of safe as possible.
That's awesome. Great advice for people starting their own. Ian, do you have any follow-up questions or final questions before we wrap it up?
No, I think we've answered I think Katie's answered all the questions I had.
Okay,
so
good.
I'm ready to go with building my community. I'm excited.
Ian's ready to go / already there, but okay.
That's right, yeah.
We'll pretend you're ready to go.
So I want to end this last comment from my friend Dustin Stout goes, if our customers are more successful, we will become 100%. More successful. So that is so true. Thank you, Dustin, for
100%
popping that up for us. So real quick before we wrap it up, I want to have Katie have like where they can find her. I know we've talked about Leap into Live, but Katie, the floor is yours. So take it away.
Oh my gosh. Well, as I said, I'm everywhere, and I have no more lines now between my personal life and my professional life. So if you look for me, I have this weird, fun English spelling of my name. I'm Katie Fawkes. I am on all the various platforms except Twitter. I have an account there, but I never actually use it. But you can find me and connect with me. I'd love to get to know you better. If you want to follow Ecamm, we are ECAMM. We are on all platforms. We have a Discord and a Facebook group, as we've talked about. You are more than welcome to spend time with us. Whether or not you are an Ecamm customer, you're welcome to come and see what we're about. Ask your questions, share your videos. We'd love to get to know you better. And if you want to learn more about live selling, live shopping, monetization, shoppable videos, Amazon Live, all that stuff, you can join us April 24th and 25th for a virtual event. Leapintolive.com gets you your free pass, and it's going to be an amazing time. So hopefully we'll see you all there and get to know you a little bit better then as well.
Awesome. Ian Anderson Gray, where can people find out all things Ian?
They can find me at iag.me. That's my website. And yeah, I've carelessly scattered myself across the interwebs and the socials, so you can follow me most places pretty much, I think. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's the Confident Live Coach. He's been doing live video almost as long as Katie and I probably. So he's been doing it for a while. So make sure you go follow him everywhere. And you have a Confident Live podcast. If people search for Confident Live, is that's where they can find you?
Yeah, Confident Live. Yeah, iag.me/podcast is where you can find that.
Yeah, so go make sure you guys go check that out. Ian is amazing. I ask him live video questions all the time. So if you'd like to find out more, you're like, okay, I'm sold on Ecamm. Where can you find out more? You can also, we give you tons of links, but socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm will get you there. And if you have questions, I'm sure everybody here, I would be more than happy to answer any questions. And if I don't know, I can call in the experts like Ian and Katie, but just send me an email or a DM. I'm at Jeff C anywhere, or at Social Media News Live, anywhere of those places. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. And with that, we'll see you guys next week. I'm off for 2 weeks. First vacation in a gazillion years, but we still have a show. It's going to be coming out Friday. The first Friday we have coming up next week is my friend Ramon Ray. I say his name wrong all the time. Ramon Ray is going to be on the show, and I've seen it. I've edited it. It's amazing. So you guys want to make sure to stick around next week for that. I'll be popping in on the chat. I just won't be in my studio. So looking forward to that. And with that, we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Ecamm fam entrepreneurs, are you tired of trying to find exciting ways to sell your products? Are you looking to reach an even bigger audience? Well, it's time to leap into the future of selling with Ecamm Live's Leap into Live Selling Virtual Conference. Live selling is the hottest trend in commerce right now. We're bringing you the brightest minds in the industry to help you master the art of live selling. You'll learn to create compelling content, engage with your audience, and best yet, convert viewers into customers. Our lineup of experts will have you on the edge of your seat. We've got live selling gurus like Stephanie Garcia, Rocky Nash, the Dealcasters, and more who will teach you how to make your brand stand out from the crowd. Don't have a lot of experience? Don't worry. We got Miss Jackie Gonzalez coming to show you how to shine as a live selling host. But wait, there's more. We got our very own Anna Fulgens with the daily wrap up with prizes and surprises that'll make this conference an unforgettable experience. Plus, you'll get a chance to network with other family members and learn from their experiences and successes. So don't wait. Join us at Leap into Live Selling and take your business to the next level. We promise it'll be the most fun you've ever had at a conference. Sign up now at leapintolive.com. That's leapintolive.com.